Imagine buying a private jet for $20 million. Not the biggest jet in the sky, not the smallest either. A solid, mid-size aircraft that a lot of successful business owners actually buy. Now imagine that same jet, 5 years later, has quietly pulled another $10 million out of your bank account, even though you never crashed it, never lost it, and flew it responsibly the entire time. That number is real, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how it happens. Most people think owning a jet means paying once and flying forever. That's not how it works. The purchase price is just the beginning of the cost, not the full story. What comes after the sale is where the real financial picture starts to form. So let's follow one owner, buying one jet, and watch what happens to his money over time. He spends $20 million on the aircraft. That's the number everyone focuses on. But the moment he takes ownership, a second, quieter number starts running in the background. The cost of simply keeping the jet ready to fly.
Industry estimates suggest that fixed and variable operating costs for a jet like this typically fall somewhere between 5 and 10% of its value every year, though the exact figure depends heavily on the aircraft type, how often it flies, where it's based, and how it's managed. For our owner, that means somewhere between $1 and $2 million a year before a single overseas trip. Where does that money actually go? Start with the crew. A jet this size usually needs 2 qualified pilots, and experienced private aviation pilots can individually earn well into 6 figures, depending on aircraft type and experience. Add benefits, recurring training, and scheduling costs, and crew alone can approach $500,000 a year.
Then there's the hangar. In major cities, hangar space is limited and expensive, sometimes costing more per month than many families pay in rent for an entire year. Insurance adds another 6-figure line item annually, shaped by the aircraft's value, its usage, and where it flies. Now add fuel. A jet like this can burn several hundred gallons per hour in the air, and with jet fuel prices fluctuating, a single long international trip can cost tens of thousands of dollars, round trip, before landing fees, permits, and catering are even added. By year 1, our owner has already spent close to $1.5 million just to keep the jet operational, on top of the $20 million he paid to own it.
But the story isn't finished. Maintenance is where the numbers can suddenly jump. Jet engines require scheduled overhauls, and depending on the engine type, a major overhaul can cost anywhere from $500,000 to well over $1 million. These aren't optional extras. They're built into aviation safety regulations, and skipping them isn't a choice an owner gets to make. When that bill arrives, often years into ownership, it can double the cost of that single year in one stroke. Here's the part almost nobody accounts for when they dream about owning a jet. Aircraft also lose value over time, and in the early years, that drop can be steep. It varies by model and market conditions, but it's not unusual for a jet like this to be worth meaningfully less within just a few years, even with careful use. That's not a bill anyone sends. It's simply value quietly leaving the asset while the owner is busy enjoying what it bought him.
So why does anyone still do this? For some, the answer isn't financial at all. It's time. A private jet removes airport lines, security waits, and layovers. And for a business owner closing deals across multiple cities in a single day, that time can translate directly into income. For others, it's simpler than that. It's the freedom to move on their own schedule without asking anyone's permission. Some owners try to soften the financial weight by chartering the jet out when they're not using it, letting other travelers pay to fly on it. It can bring in real revenue, but it also means more flight hours, more wear, and tighter scheduling.
which is why many owners who try this discover it demands almost as much management as a small business. Others explore fractional ownership instead, through programs that let buyers purchase a share of a jet rather than the whole aircraft, a model that exists precisely because full ownership costs so much that even wealthy buyers look for a lighter entry point. Taxes offer another possible relief. In some cases, business use of a private jet can qualify for deductions, but that path comes with strict documentation requirements and scrutiny from tax authorities, and the rules vary significantly depending on where the owner lives and how the aircraft is used. It's not a simple shortcut. It's a complex process that requires real accounting, not guesswork. Now, let's go back to our owner 5 years in. Add the operating costs, the insurance, the crew, the fuel, one major maintenance overhaul, and the value the aircraft has lost since the day he bought it. Estimates built from typical ownership patterns put his total cost of ownership, purchase price included, somewhere in the range of $30 to $35 million over those 5 years. On a jet he paid $20 million for.
That's the number most people never see before they buy. Not the price tag in the brochure, but the slow, steady total that builds quietly in the background, year after year, whether the jet sits in the hangar or crosses an ocean. So is it worth it? For an owner whose time truly is worth that much, the math can work. For someone chasing the image alone, it rarely does. Either way, one truth stays the same for every private jet in the sky. It was never really about buying a plane. It was about agreeing to keep paying, year after year, for the privilege of never having to wait.